Mars, thanks for joining us for this. I just wanted to, it's Black History Month this month, and I just wanted to celebrate some of the people that make Hereford FC so great. You're essentially one of our star midfielders at the moment and lighting up the pitch. And I just wanted to get to know you a little bit better, how you got into football, your whole journey through football, and a bit more about that. Just to kick us off and get started, really. Where did you start? How did football begin for you?
Um, I think I started football in terms of team wise quite late. Used to obviously kick around in the back garden in the house and break and everything in my mum's house growing up, my grandparents' house. But I didn't start playing for a team until I think my first actual football team was like 11 years old. So start of secondary school. I think I played for the Aston district, like my county district, when I was in year six in primary school, and then that's how I kind of met all the teammates that I then joined with the following year, and that was called Glen Sports at the time. It was just loads of friends around the area, and we played together for a good couple of years. It was good growing up, and that's where I started.
You mentioned some of your family members there. Were they, I'm assuming they were massively important in sort of your football journey.
Yeah, most definitely. Mum's always supported me as much as she could, but growing up, she didn't drive, so my granddad was the unfortunate one that had to drive me everywhere he could possibly, into training, into matches, into football, wherever it was. That was the main person who helped me get where I needed to get to in football.
And then it was Birmingham City Academy where you sort of got into that sort of side of the game. Um, how was that? How did that sort of all come around?
Um, I think from the age of maybe like 12 to 15, I was just trying at loads of places. Like, there was Blues, there was Birmingham City, there was West Brom, there was just back and forth for ages, and then ended up being settled with Glen Sports, and I think it was Boldmere St Michael's it was called then when they changed to a Saturday League team. Just learning football and having fun with friends. And then I was with the college team at Blues, doing all of that. So learning, I think was doing, I can't remember what degree it was at the time, but the education side of football, and obviously I was just always more interested in the actual football side of it. So that helped me. And then I think when I was about 17 in the second year, I was basically every day with the academy, and then didn't get my professional deal there. Um, Went off trying at other places at Warsaw, where I met Matt Preston for the first time. So I've known him since that young. And then I think the following season I signed at Cheltenham, and that was my first professional deal.
What was it like signing professional? I bet that's sort of the goal of every footballer, especially at this sort of level, is to get to that promised land of the football league. What was it like? What was that sort of emotion that you sort of get from signing for a football league side?
Yeah, because it'd always been my dream to play football and for it to be like a job. And as much as like everyone wants to be a footballer, you also know in the back of your head there's a chance that it may not happen. So as you're getting a bit slightly older and 18 goes past and you don't get your pro, and then I get to 19 and I'm thinking, oh, is it something that's actually worthwhile or not? And then I actually got that first deal and it was just excitement.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, it started off at Cheltenham as a 6 month deal, and then they liked you so much that they kept you on for a couple of years.
Yeah, so when I was about to sign, I had an offer from them. Mark Yates was the manager at Cheltenham, and they offered me a 6 month deal, or I think I had Bristol Rovers on the table at the time, and I think that was for 2 years. And I just wanted to, I'd been in the place with Mark Yates and knew one or two of the boys there, and just felt more comfortable. And I just wanted to play. So I signed there, and then a couple of months into that season, I ended up signing a longer contract and ended up staying there for 2 years.
Another thing that's massive, I'm going to take a little bit of a tangent away from club football for now. Something that's massive for footballers is playing for their nation. Talk to me about your involvement with tickets and others.
Um, I think I was at Sully or Moors at the time, and I was doing well. I was playing every week and just enjoying football again. And there was a chance for me to play for, I think it's England C. So the ones that you when you're outside of the league. So play for England C, and then I had a friend who I've grown up with who also played for the national team, and he didn't realize that we'd known each other for years at this point, but didn't realize that I could play for St. Kitts and Nevis. When he then found out, I think they contacted me and like asked me about my availability and X, Y, and Z, and never looked back since. And straight away wanted to play for St. Kitts and Nevis. Growing up, I was like I lived with my grandparents for a while, and they're both from St. Kitts and Nevis from both islands. So growing up, that was always like part of my culture, part of me. So once I got the chance to play for them, like I've been couldn't be more grateful.
What's it like going on an international sort of break and going away with that national side? How much different is it to your everyday training at Hereford?
It's so much different. Just everything about it in terms of the time, your body clock, your go when we're there, we want to either train as early as possible before the sun gets too hot, or else it's just not feasible to train. Or you got to train in the evening, which is then a bit more similar to everything because it's now nighttime training. So that can be, but it just depends on what country you're actually in and what time you can get pictures for. So it's just being able to adjust to the non-controllables, and then getting on with it. And you know that it's a short space that you're out there, so no time can get wasted.
Are there any games for St Kitts and Nevis that stand out for you? Are there anything that you look at and back and go, yeah, that was a great game. That was something special to me.
I think the games that we qualified to get into Gold Cup was a massive thing in history because as a country we had never been there before. Although when we got into the competition it didn't go too well and we lost against three big nations of Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica and USA. But just the fact that we got there as a group and as a nation, like it will go down in history because we was the only group of people to be able to do it. So that sticks out that summer that we done that. There's also been little games here and there that we always think that was a good trip, that was a good game. But I think the Gold Cup competition that was a standout for us.
Back over in England, we don't particularly like to mention them too much, but you were involved in that FA Cup run up at Kidderminster Harriers. What was that whole experience like for you? It was obviously a great run and played some proper professional sides. How was that in that dressing room, and how was that for you?
That was, I think, the season that I, I think I re found my love for football again. I think the last uh year or so when I was at Mansfield, it wasn't great. Also then we had COVID, so then we was away from football for a good period of time. And the season before that, football started again, but it got cut off halfway through, and we got put back in lockdown, and just football just became more of a it's just there kind of thing. And when we got back into it that season, and everything just felt right again, the fans were back in, football felt like football again, and we ended up having a special, well, a near special season in terms of everything was going good in the league. We had a nice cup run. And yeah, there was a lot of moments in that season where I look back and I definitely think that was a season that I fell back in love with football again.
Playing in front of the cameras, a few of our lads have done that before, but what was it like that day against West Ham for you? All that build up, or did you soak in that pressure, or was it something playing on you, or was it how did you find that?
Um, I enjoyed it, me personally. Um, I think that game itself sums up everything in football. Highs, the lows, the heartbreak, the excitement. So the build-up was incredible. You could hear the fans. It was a sellout. TVs, you can see that a couple of teammates are nervous, and you got to try and coach them out of it a little bit or speak to them, just settle everyone. And it was a it was a great game, and we started off well. We went up 1-0 up, so everyone, like you can imagine how it felt, and we was leading up until I think what was it, the 89th minute? I think there was 90 seconds left on the clock before Declan Rice decided to break our hearts. And it's funny enough because that was the first season where they stopped the replays because of COVID. So on another day, we could have had a nice day out at West Ham, but we played the extra time. And then in the 120th minute, they scored again to break our hearts once again. So it had everything, suspense, excitement, heartbreak. It was everything. But you look back at it and you just take the memories, and it was a great game.
Back into Hereford, more recently, you've said that you like to have that, you like to be able to help the younger players. We've obviously got a lot of younger players in our squad. How do you see that? Is that something you thrive on, you pride yourself on? Because it definitely shows.
Yeah, I tried to because growing up, when I was playing football growing up, sometimes I have never had that person who would take out the time to help or give advice. And there's been times where I have had a teammate and I haven't listened. So as you get older, you kind of look back and you realize, okay, where can you help people? And there's some players who, as I said in the previous interview, there's some players who want to learn and want to soak in as much advice, and some people just want to learn their own way, and each way is that's as a person, that's what you can do. You can only do what you want to do. So I'm I will say I'm here if people want me, but I'm never gonna be the person who's trying to just shove information down people's throats.
And you said there that there were like some figures there that were helpful for you. You might not have listened. Sort of, who was that potentially biggest help for you during your career? Whether it's a player, whether it's a coach, are there any sort of um, influential moments in your career that you can look back on now?
I can definitely look back up and I can say I definitely didn't listen properly. And that was Craig Davis when I was at Mansfield. He was an older senior pro. He'd been there, he'd done it, played for Bolton, all the clubs in the league. He had a great career. And there was just certain times he would be saying stuff and the penny wasn't dropping. And that's what he used to say, that is like the penny's got to drop. And now I look back and I understand what he was actually trying to get through to me about. There's been other people along the way as well that I have listened to or maybe didn't listen to as much, but that one stands out straight away.
Looking forward, then, what are your next steps? Do you have a plan for life after football? Is there anything in the pipeline that you'd love to go on and do? Anything you're striving towards?
I do want to go into the other side of the game, as in coaching. I do enjoy that side of the game and the tactical side, and just I enjoy football and the love for football. So I'll definitely want to ideally stay in football one way or the other.
How has Paul Caddis and Adam Rooney been for you then? As both of those being young coaches, is that something you see? Is it more the managerial side? Is it more sort of that player relation coach side? Is there anything there?
Um, it's definitely I enjoy seeing young coaches because they are more relatable because they've not long retired themselves while Rooney's still playing. So they understand what it's like to be a player in the dressing room when it's going good, and they also know what it's like to be a player when it's going bad. And it kind of helps in certain situations. So I find it good watching them and like learning from them as you do it. And yeah, it's probably not the managerial side, I don't think. Hats off to all managers. I don't know if that's me, but yeah, I do like the coaching side of it and player relation.
There's a lot more pressure there, I suppose. Thanks for taking the time. I know it was only a quick little catch up, but yeah, thanks for taking the time out with us.
No worries. Thank you very much.